Hello and welcome back to Meat City Gaming. JD here with another episode of Pivot Point here in World of Tanks, and this is an episode that is long overdue. Many moons ago, one of my subscribers, I believe it was Will, asked for a review of the Comet, the Tier 7 British medium tank, and I definitely tried to fit one in by playing some games in the tank when I could. This is a tank that I had unlocked and completed before I ever started this YouTube channel. And then I stopped that line. I never even bought the Tier 8, the Centurion Mark 1. It's on the list of tanks I want, but there were some other lines that I just was really interested in a lot more. So rather than spend the silver on the Centurion, I kind of stopped at the Comet. And so I jumped back into the tank and tried to play a couple rounds in it, but I struggle a bit with this tank. So this isn't going to be a full tank review where I go through the stats and show you the armor profile and all that. There are people out there who have done that and done a much better job than I could. Instead, I'm going to show you a gameplay here, and then I've got a second one in the next video following this one that will just show the Comet at work, and I'll talk about its strengths and weaknesses in terms of what you're seeing in the battle. So we're top tier in this tank, in this battle, and it's a standard battle on Lakeview. And one of the issues I have with the Comet, if you ask most players in World of Tanks that have played the Comet, they're going to tell you they love it. That it's a great tank, it's really powerful for its tier, it's capable, it's versatile, and I'm not going to disagree with all that. The problem I have with it is that it comes after the Cromwell. So the first question is, should you get the Comet? Should you unlock the Comet? And my answer to that question is yes. Every single person who plays World of Tanks should unlock the Comet. And the reason for that is, to unlock the Comet, you've got to play the Cromwell. The Cromwell is the Tier 6 British medium tank. It is my favorite tank in the game by far. It's one of the most powerful tanks in the game, tier for tier. I love it. It's fast. It's got a great rapid firing gun with good penetration values. A bit low alpha damage, but you can flank tanks. You can circle of death almost any tank that you come across. It plays tier 4s and just destroys them. It plays tier 5s and it's not fair. The only weakness to the Cromwell is that it has very thin armor. But even that, if you're approaching somebody very fast, it's hard for them to hit you, and you may be able to bounce off of a well-angled flat side piece of the Cromwell's armor. When you get to the Comet, it's mostly the same. It's very, very similar to the Cromwell. It feels a little bit more sluggish, which makes a big difference, and it sees tanks that are one tier higher. So 7s are its standard, and there are way more dangerous tanks here at tier 7. You see T-29s all the time. You can also get tier 8s and tier 9s, and when you see those tanks in this tank, then you're going to really start to feel the limitations of it. What this tank excels at is being a ridge fighter. It has great gun depression, and we'll get into that in a little bit more in a second. Let's get to the battle now, and you can see that we are down 0-5. We are getting absolutely crushed. Early on, I went to try and spot. I had some pretty poor shooting at an M6, and my team got completely crushed into town and was getting flanked and overwhelmed. So I decided to relocate, jump in here. I am a top tier medium. I need to have an influence on the battle, and I wasn't having it on the alley up the middle of the map. So we jump right into it, and we start off by doing some heavy damage to an M6. That might be the same one I was shooting at earlier, and one of my allies comes around to help me secure the kill. So this tank, when it's top tier, when it's facing tanks that are the same tier and lower, it can be a bit of a bully, and we're going to try and do that right now. So I come around the corner, and there's quite a few tanks here, but we need to push our luck. We need to be aggressive. We cannot lose any more tanks, so we're just going to keep this gun singing. It fires very rapidly, and we're up here against a Cromwell, the little brother, and when these two tanks meet, it's a pretty even trade. They both can penetrate each other, but I've decided to face hug and use the one strength the Comet has, which is the turret armor. If you're right in his face, it's going to be hard for them to not shoot you in the turret, especially if they're auto-aiming. They're going to have to physically try to relocate the aim on the tank, and that exchange went pretty well. For facing a tank that can dish it out just about as well as I could, I was able to take him out and then move on to a second tank, and now we're engaged with a Russian type, a Chinese, that was not a Type 59, I think that was a Chinese medium tank, the Type 58, and we survived that engagement as well. Put in some damage, we took quite a few hits, but look at that, after we rushed the town, thankfully that RD shot just fell a little bit short. After that engagement, the scores are basically tied. We're just down one tank. So we came into the town, we led the fight, and our allies did a good job supporting us. And now this is a game again. Now it's 7-7, and we have a fight on our hands. So let's get into it. Let's see if we can turn this around, being down 0-6 to bring it all the way back for a victory. So as we're looking at the minimap, we can see that the enemy pushed very aggressively on the western flank, down the valley, the swamp there, and they've pretty much reached our cap, but we have a nice entrenched defense. I don't know if they were sitting there the whole time or if they were able to pull back strategically, but they're going to be in a great position. If the enemy wants to do anything to get to our cap, they're going to have to advance, and we've got a couple of tank destroyers that are sitting behind a couple of heavy tanks. So we have a great defensive line there. Those guys should be able to hold out, while the rest of us now push on the eastern flank now that we've cleaned out the town, and push towards the enemy, and hopefully their artillery. And there we go. There's the first enemy artillery. We're going to back up, let this gun aim. The aim time is very good on this tank. Give a little bit of lead, and that was not a well-aimed or well-thought shot. I should have come out and gotten a more clear shot. But thankfully the second one goes in. We did a little bit of a snapshot, and while we were taking out that artillery, our allies did a nice job cleaning up a couple more of the enemy, and now we're up 11-8, and things are looking very good indeed. So there's two enemies we can see on the minimap that are pushing towards our base. We know there's a third enemy, which is an artillery, so at most there's going to be one enemy tank up in this area along with the artillery, and we've got two pushing aggressively here and a third trailing behind. So we know we've got some numbers advantage as well, and there's the artillery. We're going to cut through the cap circle. I did not want to be in the cap before I knew where these guys were. I didn't want to give away my position, but now that we have them spotted, it's not really going to matter. I want to get there as quickly as I can to try and do some more damage and rack up a couple more kills if possible. Thankfully, my ally takes out the enemy artillery without a shotgun in return, so things are looking great. Just two tank destroyers left now. And you can see even in this swampy marsh, the Comet's, it's pretty good in terms of speed. It's not Cromwell fast, and that's one of the biggest problems I have, but it's still pretty good. And the Hellcat gives us his side, and we're able to put a shot in to finish off that American tank destroyer, which gives us 4 kills. And the allies on my team finally remove the last tank on the enemy team and secure a win. So down 0-6. A little bit of relocation, a little bit of support from our allies, a nice fight in the town, and a good defensive stand by the rest of my allies near the cap circle, and we turn around what looked like a really bad, really desperate situation into a win, and a quality win at that. So again, one of the other reasons this review slash gameplay was so long in the making is because I do not have games in the Comet like I do in the Cromwell. If I load up the Cromwell, I dominate the match. I put up ace tankers, I put up first classes, you know, rack up the kills, rack up the damage, and really, really can dominate a match. When I play in the Comet, it just does not happen. This was a good game, by no means a great game. We can see we put up, just under 1,240 base XP. Again, not complaining about the result, but it's not as inspiring as my usual performances on this channel. Again, this is just a good game I had in the Comet that showed what it can do when it's top tier against some worthy opponents, but definitely not opponents that are higher tiered than it. And it gives me a chance to talk about the tank and show some of its capabilities, show off the mobility, the ability to relocate, change flanks, flank enemies, put shots in with its rapid firing gun, and use the turret armor when you can to face hug. There wasn't too much hill fighting going on in this replay, but stay tuned. The next gameplay that is coming up, that will be the next one I post on the channel, will be the second gameplay of the Comet, and it will definitely show off some of the turret gun depression and turret armor of this tank, which is the strength that it's really known for. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully I gave you a little bit of an insight, maybe half the picture of the Comet, and hopefully I'll be able to complete that picture with the next video, let you know what to expect when you go for the Comet, if it's the right tank for you. But regardless, if it is, if it isn't, do yourself a favor and get to the Cromwell and play the heck out of that tank. It's one of my absolute favorite tanks to play. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to give a thumbs up and subscribe for future content, and I will see you next time. Thanks.